to Thursdays, weekdays in the Word. Greetings, 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 and blessings, my friends. Man, wow. Last night in service, prayer and praise service here at Abundant Life, Jonathan Begley and his fiancee, Abby Risman, was with us in service. And Jonathan ministered last night. They both will be leaving next week, 1 week from yesterday, January 3rd. They'll be leaving to go back to Armenia, and Jonathan to fulfill his year's commitment. Abby to see what it's like. She's going to stay a few weeks and see what it's like there in Armenia. And boy, what a message, what passion. I appreciate this young couple. Jonathan ministered from his heart, had a great video for us to watch of what he has done so far in Armenia, the ministries that he has been a part of. It was great. And then he preached and shared his burden with the church, and it was just blessed. We had a lot of visitors, his family, her family. Just appreciated it. At the close, we gathered all the ministers in the house around this couple and laid hands on them, prayed for them. It was a wonderful night, wonderful night. This preacher is proud to see young people step forward and make provision in their life to follow the will of God. I'm thrilled with it. Amen. Well, I've been talking to you about women in ministry. I want to advance that just a little bit further this morning. And in honor of all the women that done so much and have been used of God, I continue this little study. Women were used of God in the Old Testament days as prophetesses. Now, some people don't like that. I can't help it. We'll get into the New Testament and Paul's admonishment about ministering tomorrow as I conclude this. But today, amen, the Old Testament, they were used of God as prophetesses. And here's some examples. Exodus 15 and 20. Judges 4 and 4. 2 Kings 22:14. 2 Chronicles 34:22. Nehemiah 6:14. Isaiah 8 and 3. And then on into New Testament, but still under Old Testament law. Luke 1:39 through 56 and Luke 2:36. That is eight separate instances that the Lord used women to bring the message, to prophesy, to foretell or forthtell, either one. He used women in those instances. And again, for those that just don't see it, the law made provision for women to make sacrifices, attend feast, and make vows. Deuteronomy 12:11 through 18, Leviticus 27, both of those describe women's allowances in ministry. Make sacrifices, attend feast, and make vows. They were allowed. Amen. So I hope you see, men, that God can use women just like he can use men. Hebrews chapter 11 mentions outstanding women in ministry, like Sarah, Moses' mother, Rahab. And then in verse 35, making a summary of people of faith, what they've done, he says, women received their dead, raised to life again. That's pretty powerful. And so, after these several days of me going through the New Testament, especially the Pauline epistles, and finding those in New Testament churches who were hosting churches, leading churches, were deaconesses, were ministering the word alongside their husband, were instrumental in advancing the gospel in that first generation and second gen people. And then reaching back into the Old Testament and seeing how God made allowance for them to be used in prophecy. That's foretelling and forthtelling. And they even made it into God's Hall of Fame in Hebrews chapter 11. So today, why don't we tear down some barriers that we've built? Why don't we in the state of the world that we live in, applaud everyone who allows themselves to be used of God, accept everyone who allows themselves to be used of God? Why don't we embrace God using whomever he chooses and thank God for it, instead of trying to find a reason to isolate someone or remove someone? Yes, I'm for women being used of God. And yes, they have their place. And yes, there is divine order. I'll speak to some of that tomorrow. But my Lord, in so many dead and dry churches, in so many places that the devil has tried to annihilate the very presence of a Bible-believing church, let's stand up today and let's accept those whom God places his hand upon. Amen. Who God is using, and let's rejoice. Let's rejoice on this Thursday that in our church, and I pray in your church, there are men, women, boys, and girls being used of God. Thank God for it. Where would we be without it? Ladies, I bless you.